Welcome to this week's WEF Weekly, and it is a gold medal special featuring three of the very best in the sport. 25 championship medals between them, and of course it is Nations Cup week, so we're talking teams. But these three have been on some of the biggest teams in world sport. Welcome to the gold medal special here for WEF Weekly, Week 8. Welcome to the Winter Equestrian Festival once again. It is into the 8th week of competition in terms of Nations Cup week, and it is the teams coming to town for the Florida Coast Equipment Week, and of course they are the exclusive agricultural suppliers here to the Winter Equestrian Festival as well. Based not too far from here, our presenting sponsor this week, it'll be Saturday night for that Florida Coast Equipment Nations Cup, and then the Sunday Grand Prix to round out this CSIO week as well. Big week of competition brought to you through our streaming of Dodd Technologies, the industry leader providing creative design and technical support services for the sports, entertainment, corporate, communications and special events markets. Over 40 years of experience. And in conjunction too with US Equestrian and the USEF network, we bring you the big events here throughout the Southern Florida circuit. Looking forward to what comes up this week, because an exciting week ahead, but it also wraps up an exciting week last week as well with the Lugano Diamonds 5-star competitions. Brilliant week of competition, and it kicked off in seriousness with the Adequan WEF Challenge Cup as well, as we saw Ben Maher to the top of that one with fantastic rounds from him, the world number 2, again putting himself in the winning feeling into prime spot for the Grand Prix on Saturday, and again it sees the world's best out on 5-star Nations Cup and another 5-star week to come. It is a real exciting turn of events coming up for us over the next few weeks here in Wellington. That's how the week kicked off, and it then completed with a massive Saturday night for that Lugano Diamonds Grand Prix. The massive striding United Touch S, and Richard Vogel stood atop of the podium this time around, and what a podium it was with Mclain Ward and of course Shane Sweetnam, all getting their revenge on each other throughout the evening. So it brings me nice and easily to my guest today. Like I said, three absolute superstars, 13 championship gold medals between them, between Pan Am Games, World Championships, Europeans, and of course Olympics as well. The Olympic champion, Ben Maher, joins us. Ben, great to have you here. British team in action this week.
Yeah, it's great to be back. I wasn't on the team here last year, but it's always a fun week to be a part of, and we're lucky to have a team back here this year. Looking forward to it. Pretty good week for you last week. Yeah, it started off very well with a win in the WEF, and then I made a decision to leave Dallas, Vegas off that week. It's a long season and we have a lot of classes coming up, and jump a younger horse on Saturday evening, and I didn't ride quite as good as I should have done down the last line, and it didn't work out, but hopefully we can build on that, and I learned something new that evening.
There's plenty coming up. Laura Kraut, Pan Am gold medalist last year, coming into the now current team gold. You're one and done for the Pan Ams now. You did brilliantly. Get to your first one, get a gold, and thank you very much. Olympic gold, of course, for you as well. It's been a big season so far for you too.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some ups and downs. I had a fall the first week, so I was sidelined for, I think, the first 4 or 5 weeks, but I'm slowly making my way back, and yeah, looking forward to this week.
Staying with the gold medal theme, Pan Am gold, double Olympic gold, Mclain Ward on the podium last week again. You'll like being on the podium, but you won't like being on top spot, I know that. You're a perfectionist.
Well, you know, it was a nice week for us. We also had struggled a little bit, some new horses, a few four-fall rounds. But things really started to come together last week, which, you know, I think happens most often for all of us. But when you're in a little bit of a slump, you don't see it that way. Richie Vogel, for me, is one of the best in the world. He's an incredible talent and a dear friend, and I at least made him work for it a bit.
I guess so. You've been helping him, haven't you?
I don't know about helping him, but we certainly talk shop, and we've developed a great friendship and worked together, and he's as good as it gets, as well as the rest of the panel today. And on that horse with that stride, you certainly have to get a little bit lucky to catch him. And I at least made him work for it. Like I said.
Do you look at United Touch and think, let me have a go, or do you say you've got this?
I never watched Richie Vogel ride and think I'm going to up on anything. So, and I've watched him at home too. It's pretty impressive, and it's. I said, watching him particularly train, it's like being a seasoned quarterback and seeing a kid come out of college who's bigger, stronger, and faster than you, and trying to figure out how you're going to keep up. But it's cool, and I felt like it was good sport last week, and we were in the mix. So I was proud of that.
You certainly were. Let's take a look at Richie's round from last week as well, winning that Lugano Diamonds Grand Prix. It was pretty special with United Touch because that horse has a stride like no other.
Yeah, I mean, he did 7-1-2. That was the only place I thought maybe I could have done that, but my horse doesn't have the biggest stride. The rollback here after the white vertical was the only place I was hoping it showed up a little quiet for him, and it didn't. He was able to pick up on the first distance, and he just didn't lose his momentum. And after that, you can't beat the stride. He did one less here. He did the same back on the double as I did, which I felt like I turned with all the risk. And he walked 6 home, which was a full stride less than all of us. So, to be less than half a second in range was good. I think he won Geneva by 3 seconds. Yeah. So I was thrilled with our performance. Always like to win, of course, but we were playing the game well.
You had Callis out last week. How did that feature for you? How did you feel he came out of that?
Well, Callis really has grown to be a great partner. We had a great season. She's very consistent, very predictable. She had a very good start early in the circuit. I thought jumped well, but we've been a little bit on a 4-fault run, her and also Contagious in the first 5-star. But things came together last week, and I'm looking for a good finisher.
Ben, for you, it's been a good start to the season as well. Anjou, you had into the Grand Prix as well. But, I mean, Anjou's already put the World Cup qualifier in London behind that horse as well. But, I mean, only just turned 10.
Yeah, he came on great. We had him since he was 7 years old, and he really come into his own the end of last year. But indoor jumping, slightly different here in the ring behind us. And he come off of good momentum in London, and we jumped the first Grand Prix here just to keep to get him in the ring under the lights, and he won. He's naturally a very fast horse, but I just felt that perhaps on Saturday evening it was a big course. It was probably suited to a little bit more experienced horse, and in this ring he can get running away with me a bit sometimes, and I had a plan down to the last line, and I changed my mind a little bit to try and help him, and it was the wrong decision. So I was a little frustrated with myself, but watching the jump off, he is a fast horse, but I'm not sure if I was going to be knocked out any day or any evening, and maybe that was the night to just surrender and say that I wasn't going to be fast enough.
I was going to ask you, what do you make about going up against United Touch?
I mean, it depends on your horse completely. As Mclain said, he has huge stride. I never like to go home and think nothing is unbeatable. We always can try to improve. But you're not going to beat the stride, so you have to beat him in another way, and maybe in that jump-off course, I think it was, as Mclain said, you're not going to better what Richard Vogel's doing with that horse, but it was very suited to him. He was able to leave out strides where others couldn't, and maybe another course wouldn't be as much suited to him, but as Mclain said, watching from the sidelines, I don't think he could have done any more, and everything came up right, and he did a great job.
Laura, you were taking a little easier on Saturday night for this week, or last week. You're back in action this week. Yeah. What did you make of the Grand Prix on Saturday?
It was fantastic. We actually watched the second half and the jump off at home on the television, so we were listening to you. But when Mclain went, Nick said that's not going to get beat.
Yeah.
And I tended to agree with him, because he left nothing on the table that we could see. And like Ben said, that it just suited him and Richard, and yeah, the rollback Mclain did so incredibly well, and like he said, he could have done with him just not seeing the one he saw, and I think that'd have been enough.
Yeah.
Because you were a half second off, and
the horse doesn't lose its momentum. It's
yeah.
To do.
I mean, you even dropping the strides. That if that turn hadn't come up just the way it did, I think he'd have been on it. But it was great sport. Really, really good to watch. I had not planned to jump it, so, and like Ben said, it's probably the right week to take off.
and Shane Sweetenham sitting there in third with James Cancruz. I mean, that horse is so consistent.
We used to think it was fast.
Yeah,
That horse
it's putting a
jumped
different complexion on the
incredible
game
as well. I mean,
Yeah.
the 4 and the jump off were class.
Yeah, but you did that with Explosion and shocked them all as well. So it's just another shock in the system, and then you'll all catch up, and it'll be fine. Great stuff on Saturday there. That was fantastic. We're looking ahead for what's coming up this week. Nations Cup coming up this week as well. Lots to talk about here as well. You're both on the US team, which we'll come on to in a few minutes' time. But looking forward to rolling your sleeves up again.
Yeah, it's always an important Nations Cup because, you know, this is obviously the mecca of show jumping in the United States, North America this time of the year. A lot of our supporters and fans are here, and we always want to try to make a good showing. And, you know, particularly Laura and I are riding to a little less experienced, certainly for me, less experienced with my partner, Ilex this week. So there's a lot riding on this, looking to the future and what the cards hold.
Laura, from your point of view?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Mclain. I haven't jumped on this Nations Cup in a few years. It's a lot of fun. You feel the excitement with the crowd, and we certainly don't want to disappoint. I'm jumping Bisquetta, which she's 10, and new. This will be her first, new to this level. This will be her first Nations Cup, and yeah, I think we have a good team. We have solid riders. We've got a very good young rider in our group with Zaina Rizvi. So yeah, we'll see what we get.
We'll go in detail on that in a minute. But actually, when I was looking at the results, you won here with Cedric back in 2013.
Yep. Yeah. I did. I've jumped this a few times. I think I had Ceremony in it once as well. I don't know if we
Sapphire.
won. Yeah, we did. We used to jump. Well, I think this might have been counting at one stage, maybe for our team trials.
Yeah.
So yeah.
For you, Laura, I'm talking about longevity in the sport and success. You took several horses there, but that is the difference in the three of you sitting up here and the three of you talking about championships is not just finding.
It's a difference.
They're so much younger.
I mean, there's barely a fraction difference. But what is the ability, do you think, to keep going with that? I mean, we talk about United Touch being, you know, that fantastic horse, but you've got to then do that. Ben's rebuilt. You've all rebuilt at different times. How do you keep that longevity?
I mean, I think you've got to constantly be thinking of the future. You know, you can't rest on your laurels. You can't be happy with the string you've got at the moment. You've got to constantly be thinking about the future. So whether it's a nice, wonderful 5-year-old you see, or a 6-year-old, or, you know, you're constantly building him in the wings. He said that his horse he's had since it was 7. I know he'd had Explosion since he was also a young horse. So, you know, it's great when you have 1 or 2 and you are at the top of the sport, but you know, they can soon be injured or sold or whatever, and then you're back to square one. So I think it's important that you constantly have that.
Is it important to have that attitude that says, I mean, like when Cedric probably retired, let's do this again? Yeah.
I mean, definitely. Thankfully, when he was, retirement was imminent because he was 18, but I had Ceremony and I had some other very good horses already going. So you just are constantly enough. We never have enough.
But is there a spark that all three of you go, that still makes me want to do it?
You know, I often think when I have conversations with colleagues that maybe aren't quite as motivated as this group is, you know, what we started with, that ambition, that fire, that drive, that work ethic, in a select certain few, it doesn't go away that easily, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what sustains you, and it keeps you fighting through difficult moments. I mean, this guy a year ago was sitting on the sidelines very frustrated with a really freak accident, and now arguably has the strongest string in the sport. So, you know, you pivot, you find solutions, you wake up every day, and not that you don't appreciate the successes and the great horses you've had and the great support behind you, but, you know, you're actually, probably your brain's a little focused on the missed moments. We joke about it, but you say, okay, how can I be that much better? And that keeps you seeking better horses, better situations, better training, better demands from yourself, and you have that internal fire.
Ben, we've talked about it quite a bit in commentary this year as well, the Maher program, whatever secret sauce you've got right now. But what is it that's put you in that position? You've that drive. I mean, Mclain and I were talking beforehand. You know, we took gold medals. You've got the individual medal. We've got all of you've got Olympic medals there. But that's not enough. What keeps driving you, and why? As these guys both said there, you've got one of the best strings around right now.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I have all the support that any rider could dream of at the moment. I have incredible owners supporting me, and I think what's happened is we made good choices with horses, which, as we all know, can not work out sometimes. It doesn't matter if you have a good sponsor or a good owner that gives you a horse, it doesn't always work. But in Jew, Point Break, Ginger Blue, they were all bought when they were 6 and 7, and they all came on to jump 5-star Grand Prix. Sometimes you can buy a horse and it doesn't make it past 1.40 m. So there have been moments during the time when they were growing up where you go home and you think this is just not going to work anymore. In Jew in particular, I was really struggling with him for a while. But I think that's the key. As Mclain said, at the moment I have a strong whole group of horses. So I've had Faltic here the past 4 weeks, and I decided not to jump the big Grand Prix on him. He jumped 1 Grand Prix in the beginning. I jumped meter 50 on Sunday. He was second, build a little bit of confidence, give him a bit of an easier time before he flies back to Bosch next week. So I'm able to, horses for courses, they say, we can mix them up, and then each horse helps the other one to bring out the best in them. And that, along with a great team of people helping me make sure I'm everywhere in the right place here.
Who's behind the scenes these days in the Maher squad?
Well, I have Darren Lake, he's been with me a while, and a new younger guy, Toby, and then I have some of the older crew come back to me. Kirsty Bond, that was with me and then went to Mclain and actually come back.
She started with me.
Yeah, there you go.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Thick skin.
And another girl, Emma. I brought some of the older crew back. I felt like I had a really strong, experienced group of horses, and I needed to invest in a little bit more of a bigger team to give the horses the time and the attention they needed with the travel in demand and things that we have. And especially after my time off last year, it gave me a long time to think about those things. And one thing it did was motivate me to try to put it right when I come back, and I had all my owners here, all my horses here, and they were all sat not able to watch anything. So I think that really motivated me to push myself for the rest of the year.
I was going to say that's the difference with the three of you is if you get the downsides of it, I guess, is that you actually want to come back harder. You don't wave the white flag. You go.
Yes, I think, like I was saying before, I think it's that internal drive, and then, we're as Ben said, we're lucky to have been surrounded by great people. I mean, we talk about owners, but our internal, stable teams and managers, all of us have that in common. We have the best in the business around us, and we put a lot of responsibility on them, and they take a lot of pride in what they do for us. And then I think that's actually, when it's going well, that's actually not so challenging. It's when there are missteps, when there are problems with a horse or yourself, that you really see the difference in those teams.
And is that where, in your case, you've got Lee McKeever and the team behind you, step up and go?
I mean, obviously Lee's incredible. I mean, we've had our moments too, but it's a great story. I think for me, I think the horses underneath you and the people behind you, I think now at this level of sport, it's a given that we all ride very well. The top people, they all work hard. These are givens. These are, if you don't have those things, it's a non-starter anymore. It's gotten to that good a level, and you see that in every sport. The difference becomes the horses, the owners, obviously, which make the horses possible for us to have those engines underneath us, and the internal team that we have around us to make those be the best they can be, at least the majority of the time. Well,
let's talk team this week, talking that a little bit, and let Laura come in on that as well. US team this week, you mentioned the two of you, Carl Cook and Zaina Rizvi are going to be on the squad. Mclain, there's a little bit of you with Callis, but as you say, you're going to go different one this week. How are we feeling about the US team here? Because it's always been a pretty happy hunting ground for you.
Yeah, actually our results in this particular Nations Cup haven't been good enough, to be frank. We've tried to use it to see some new combinations, develop some talent. It's a long season here, and I think to some degree we've sometimes shelved this Nations Cup a little bit more than we should have, or taken it for granted. I have a new horse that I think is exciting, and I want to test it out and see where I'm at. Laura has a young horse coming up that's been going very well. Carl obviously has some spectacular horses and has won some big events in the last couple of years. and we look for him to be in the fold. And Zayn is a super young rider with a great team of people behind her, and so far has shown to be very impressive. So I think it's a strong team on the field. But the one thing you always see here in Wellington is strong teams across the board, because we have such a group of depth, such strong depth here competing through the winter circuit.
Laura, for you this week, as you say, Biscetta. And
Biscetta?
The team overall. You're going to be helping along Zaina as well onto her first one here in Wellington.
Listen, I think she's been hot. She's riding well. As he said, she has a great team behind her and a lovely horse. So, I mean, I think I feel good about her, and I think she's got ice in her veins. I mean, she's performed well in Europe, and she's good. We have Carl. Again, he's won some big things, and he's gotten the Pan Ams under his belt, so it'll be good to have him on this team. And then Mclain and I, he's definitely testing out a new horse, and I'm just going to see what she's like under the lights. She's not done that really, other than the 1 week here. But I think we've got a good team. He's right. There's a lot of good teams. Yeah,
one is the British team as well, looking over your shoulder to Ben Maher.
The British team, the Irish team.
Ben, you've got Tim Gredley, Jessica Mendoza and Sami Eldahan on the team for the British squad this week. Again, pretty strong winners in there. You've got Sami, who won the Spruce Meadows Grand Prix, Tim, who's been World and European Championships, Jessica, who's been a big winner out here based in the US now. For both you and Jess now, it's almost second home.
Yeah, it's a great team. I think 3 of those members on the team, I believe, will maybe go forward to Ocala in a couple of weeks. Tim's had great results this year. He had his championship on Medoc last year in the European Championships, and he came out this year to sort of keep up to speed at this level and push. He's had a couple of rounds with 1 down, but has been unlucky. I'm going to take Ginger Blue this week. I've had her a long time.
Paris Grand Prix winner.
She's been great in some Grand Prix. Actually, I have not ever used her in a Nations Cup event, so it'll be a little bit different territory for her this week. But we're looking forward to it, and it's fun to be a part of this team. Yeah,
it's going to be a big group of teams this week as well. There's Ben Anjou. Let's take a look at the teams competing this week as part of the Florida Coast Equipment Nations Cup as well. Looking at 9 teams in total for this week too. I say not just the US team, but the British team in there as well. We've got Australia, Brazil, Canada, Colombia, British team there. Ireland are going to be hard to look past as well. Israel, Mexico, New Zealand are making an appearance this week too. Some newer faces on there, and United States. That's not the order you're going in, that is just alphabetical. That draw will take place, and we'll see how things pan out. Good luck to the teams this week. As I say, we'll be giving you a full rundown on Saturday of the rundown of each of those teams as well, both pre the second round and in the run up to round 1 as well. Looking ahead as well, it is a big week for the Brain Juice U25 competition as that continues through the season. The semi-finals this week. Francis Derwin of Ireland is leading that at the moment. Hallie Grimes was leading, now down into second place. Ansgar Holchers Jr. of the US in third at the moment. Tom Watchman top 5, and taking us through our top 10, top 12 overall, including France, Canada and Mexico for those in the U25 so far this season. The 3 of you here, like I say, gold medal special, talking championships, Pan Am Games for you guys, the most recent one as well. You've all got eyes on Paris too. Laura, riding a championship, completely different. We were back in Santiago in November. You're riding for an Olympic spot there. Big pressure. How do you deal with it?
To be perfectly honest, I don't know. It's just something that I enjoy or I thrive on. I mean, I think that was a lot of pressure. I think we all felt it, particularly when it didn't go great the first day. I think we knew we had to really pull out all the stops. But it's just something I really enjoy. I like the pressure. I like the challenge, and I like being part of a team. I've been fortunate throughout my career to have really great teammates. I've been on mainly old teams with Mclain, Beasy.
That's not a bad team to be on.
It's no, it was. I've just been very fortunate. I've had a lot of great teammates, and I enjoy it.
Ben, individual Olympic champion. I mean, how was that different to a team scenario?
I kind of thought that after London winning home team gold in
Yeah.
London and would never get better than that. It was a very surreal moment and a dream to always be able to ride in the Olympic Games for a start. Then you have a gold medal, but Tokyo was just different. I can't really explain it. I was very lucky to be able to have Explosion and keep him for that. There was pressure with it because I felt that people, well, I don't normally listen to what people say, but it was a little bit expectant that he always went well. But I just remember being a little bit in my own world when I was there. We were locked in a hotel room, I think, for 2 or 3 weeks anyway,
Yeah.
so we were in our own world. But everything went to plan. He jumped incredible, and unfortunately didn't get to enjoy it at the time with as many people as we wanted. But in the end, the result what counted, and I don't think anything will ever in sport better that in my life, to be honest.
For you, Mclain, you both were there for Team Silver as well, but you're twice Olympic gold as well in teams, of course, with the great Sapphire. How was that for you? Was it similar sort of thought on that? You're sitting on the horse that you went, I can do this, or?
I think for me, every championships has been very different. You know, not
Yeah.
only the location, the venues, the situation that we're in personally, but the challenge. And sometimes the things, the championships that, you know, particularly Beijing, which I think we were strong. We were, I don't want to say favored, but we were expected to do well, and we were strong. For me, while it was very satisfying, wasn't quite as satisfying as, say, Tokyo, where I don't think we were that strong. I think that I kind of referred to it as that was a little bit of a magic trick, that we almost beat the Swedes, and you know, I thought we really did our job above and beyond. And funny enough, I think as athletes, that's sometimes what you're even sometimes more proud of as a body of work. When you're in a situation like Ben was with Explosion, or maybe I was with Sapphire in a certain moment, you are very proud that you do the plan you want to execute, and that's very challenging. That's very hard to do, and it's a lot of pressure. On the flip side, the challenge of trying to make everything work a little better than it is, to pull off an upset, so to speak, is also satisfying in a different way. And for me, Tokyo in particular was that. That team really rose above what I think their level was on paper to deliver that result. And you know, I think looking back, I'm quite proud of that body of work.
It was pretty sensational stuff.
Good day.
Laura, I gave you all a little bit of a task in the run-up to this, which was to pick your dream team. A team of 4 for a team competition. You're one of them.
Yeah.
And who would your other teammates be? And you could have taken anyone through the sport and their horses. What did you come up with?
Well, I was going to keep it easy, because easy, I still think I'd win anywhere. I'd take Ben with Explosion,
Yeah.
Mclain with Sapphire,
Yeah.
and Nick with Big Star.
Yeah. Good. You're safe on that one.
Yeah, I feel good about that.
Give me a little bit of why you
feel
go
strong.
that
Listen,
direction.
I think those horse rider combinations, obviously,
Yeah.
2 individual gold medalists and a double gold medalist, and numerous Grand Prix wins. I mean, I don't even know how many. How could I go wrong?
You'd feel safe.
I'm a good chef to keep that.
Excellent. Brilliant.
That works for Nick's point system.
It was. Actually, yes, Nick's point
Nick has
system.
a selection
10,
system.
Yeah.
10. Yeah, no, it's all good.
It's all good. Ben, for you, who would you be your dream for? Well,
Nothing
you and
against
3 others.
Laura
No,
here
no,
at
no.
all,
Yeah.
but I did have Mclain with Sapphire on my list,
Yeah.
and then I had Eric Lamar's with Hickstead,
Yeah.
and then Meredith with Shutterfly.
Well, that.
I kind of went for
was
sort of the
close to mine.
iconic
Yes.
horse rider combinations of their time. It's probably a bit cheating, but again, prolific winners.
You had plenty of.
She was close on mine.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I think the next 5 or 6 was pretty tight. Mclain, your dream team.
Well, I was hoping I was going third, because I knew these guys were going to come up with the classic calls, which you could go on for hours.
Mine
but,
was easy.
You know, of course, I have to bet on 2 of my now going on almost 3-decade teammates, Beezy and Laura, on any horse, and I do believe, you pick riders, right?
Yeah.
These are champions. And then I was just going to offer to Ben, since he's basically living the American dream, that if he wants to come over at any point, we welcome him, and we feel he's getting the benefits, and so there'll be no interview process. So.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Good. That sounds a pretty good team. We'd love to see that all in action. We've got some questions as well for all of you from those at home. A couple of questions for each of you. So let's head over to those. Ben, we're going to start with you. In fact, we're going to start with Mclain, actually. How does it feel for you to watch your daughter grow up in the sport now, too?
It's very exciting. You know, I have two daughters, Lily and Madison. And Lily now just turned 9 years old and has a string of ponies, and we're full at it. And she, as Laura knows well, she has a very similar personality to me, so we kind of see things the same. I'd say she's probably a little bit of a healthier outlook, but she's doing great. And I'm nervous only because, you know, I want her to see that putting in the time and the work, to feel the value of that. It's not necessarily winning and losing, but of course, you know, that's a nice perk. But to see that it's worthwhile, and she can take that skill set into anything she does in life. So it's exciting. The other one, Madison, is wild and was galloping around the ring today with no control, and that's going to be an interesting journey. I'm not sure where that's going. That's funny.
Let's grab the second question for Mclain here as well. What is the most important thing to remember for horsemanship?
You know, I think why we started, right? I mean, we love being with the horses, working with the horses, and it's our nature to get caught up in chasing a dream, and there's incredible value in that. But at the same time, you know, I think just to be grounded, and I read an article recently is, you know, every once in a while don't forget to pick up the pitchfork. And I think that's true. You know, remember why you started on this path, and all of the blessings and privileges of a life spent with animals and horses and doing what you love to do.
Brilliant. Okay, let's come to our next set of questions. Mclain, you're now off the hook, and our next ones are for Laura. Do you think you can truly succeed in the sport with little funds, even just with hard work? A little bit of what we're saying there, actually.
Absolutely. I really do. I mean, I think it takes a lot, you know, it obviously takes more than just the hard work. You've got to have talent and ability, and you've got to have perseverance. And yeah, I mean, there's like they say 5 things to make it in the business: talent, horse management, the ability to pick horses, hard work. I can't remember, but anyways. But yes, I mean, at the end of the day, I wasn't with a lot of funds growing up. I don't think you were. I don't really know about you, but I think it's very possible, but nothing's easy.
Nothing's easy at all. No, so you're a prime example of that. Let's get to Laura's second question, and see what we've got here. How many horses do you ride a day? You're quite busy.
I am busy.
And you're teaching as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I probably ride, I try to ride no more than 6 to 8 a day. I mean, at this stage, I used to ride a lot more than that. But I like to now try to focus and really pay attention to the ones I'm doing. It's not so much quantity, it's quality now. But yeah, probably around, I'd say 6.
And for anyone that's seen you around the showground, you're dashing around the rings from one place to another. Sister usually not too far away to keep you in.
No, my sister does a lot, so I'm very lucky. But yeah, we're busy here, but it's good for us.
Excellent. Ben, let's take a look at Ben's questions. And first up for Ben, we're going to take a look at this. What have we come up with for Ben? What are your tips for confidence building in the ring? We were talking about pressure earlier, but a bit of confidence building. And that sometimes even happens to you guys, I'm guessing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when things aren't going right, it's important just to go back to basics. Stick to the plan is important. I think also with my bad rounds, I probably watch the video once and then never watch them again. I just learn from it once, and then they go in the drawer and they're put away. And I think sometimes coming to a bigger event, maybe that morning, watch a round that did go right. Put your mindset on that horse, because we're always running around between different horses. We have to treat every horse like its own entity. I don't ride them all the same. No. And just give yourself a confidence boost from knowing that you can do it, and watching and reminding yourself that you've perhaps done it before. And trusting those basics and your horse when you go in the ring. Normally, things are going right for me when I believe they're going to go right.
Brilliant. Let's grab the second question for Ben. What are your tactics to having a great show day? I think you've just actually said some of that in there, actually.
A great show day. Well, we all have to win.
That is a great show day.
That's normally when we're going back from here in the car or the golf cart and you won. That's normally the idea of it. But as Mclain said, we're very lucky to be here. I'm able to ride amazing horses every day, and it's not always about the winning here. have some newer, younger horses, developing them, feeling like you're achieving something or you're growing maybe for the future. And we do a job that we love to do every single day, and I think it's easy for us all to lose sight of that when we're running around here.
Absolutely. Well, I'd love to keep you all here all night, but you've got to go all night jumping. So you've got to go and do some jumping again yet. Suffice to say, thank you very, very much for joining us. Good luck this week to all of you and to all of our teams. I can remain neutral. You can all be. You'll be partisan with your teams. Ben, fantastic stuff so far. Good luck. You're going to head to Dutch Masters, I think, next week as well.
Yeah, we're. I love it here, but we're going to, for the first time for me, I'm going to go back and take 2 horses back with me. Yeah. But I like spending time here. My family's here, and I get more time this time of year. And I have the Explosion here. He's also working and cantering the first time today. So it's kind of a few fun things going on in the background outside of the ring. But I hope I made the right decision to leave for the week. And
because I was going to leave that one to you, is he feeling good?
Explosion?
Yes.
He's great. I haven't actually ridden him myself the last few days. It's been busy, but yeah, we couldn't leave him behind. He came for the warm weather, and he's looking fit, and wondering why he doesn't get let out on the truck to come over. But yeah, he's doing great for where we're at right now, and just happy that he's enjoying where he's at.
Yeah, we'd love to see an Explosion United Touch showdown at some point. And I hate to tell you, Richie Fogel's coming to the Dutch Masters as well. But you've got this week to fight it out yet. Laura, thank you very much. Good luck with the team.
Thank you.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you very much.
And keep the rest of them in check. just get the top of that podium. Mclain, keep winning.
We'll try.
Keep doing it.
We need to start winning.
We start this week. We start this week with this week. Keep it confident. Thank you very much to all 3 of you. Stars, all of you. Like I say, 25 championship medals between you, 13 golds as well. I don't think there's anyone that's around right now that's got any kind of that record. Very impressive. So that reminds me to say, this week, lots coming up for you. Like we said, Brain Juice U25 semi-final Grand Prix is going to be here on Friday. Nations Cup, that is going to be on Saturday. Join us for just after 4 o'clock to the first round there, and the second round in the evening at 7. We're also going to bring you a show in between as we analyse all the rounds, see how the teams are getting on, and see who we might see as coming out to our winner. We've got some experts in for that as well. Unfortunately, it won't be this group because they're going to be busy. And then on to the Grand Prix on Sunday as well. Tune in for all of that coming up here from Wellington International. Also will be on the USEF network as well. That's all coming up. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to those that support us as well from the USEF, from Dog Technologies, and from the Florida Coast Equipment. Like I say, we've all got to dash off now because it's back jumping here in Wellington. See you soon.